Hello, and welcome to As Built, the podcast from Graphic Machine about architecture firms and buildings and how both get built. I am Patience Jones, your co-host. With me is
Brian Jones,
our other co-host. Thank you for joining us. Today, in honor of the holiday, we are talking about the selfish green character who stole marketing. And you can fill in the blanks about who that is. At Graphic Machine, we respect other people's intellectual property. So if something is trademarked, then it's trademarked and we're not using it. So today, it's about the selfish green character who stole marketing. What are we talking about?
Well, I think this kind of stemmed from a sales call that I was on the other day where I was being sold to. And in the course of that sales call, the person could not get out of their own way because all they could see was that they needed and wanted to make that sale. And they were taking more and more time on the call, more and more energy put towards trying to get the sale, and it ultimately didn't work out. And that got me sort of thinking about this in a larger sense about how we approach marketing and business development and why it's important not to be selfish in your approach as a general rule.
Yeah, I mean, so we've seen this a lot, and sometimes it's tempting to do, but, not to toot our own horn here, but I'm going to. We really tried to use a generosity approach with marketing, and we instill that in our clients as well. And what we see time and time again is when they stop taking what is a selfish attitude toward marketing and sales, they get more sales, they get better sales, they get better clients, they get more opportunities because people respond to generosity. And what we're talking about is not giving your services away, but we're talking about things like putting yourself in the shoes of the person that you're trying to market to, person or company, thinking about what would matter to them. What are their pain points? What do they care about? Do they care that I have won a lot of awards and have all these degrees? And maybe, but what they care more about is, am I hearing them? Are they being listened to? Can I solve their problem? Am I respectful of their time?
That's a big one.
It's such a huge one. If you take one thing away from listening to any of the episodes on our podcast ever, I want it to be this. Time is a finite resource. And when you are asking someone for their time, that is a huge ask, whether you realize it or not. They will never get that time back. And they may be giving up other things to give you that time. They almost certainly are. So in exchange for their time, you need to give something back to them, something of value, meaning you're giving them advice, you're giving them a resource, you're giving them something that's useful, you're giving them a referral, whatever it is. But the calls where somebody says, like we have a vendor that we work with who shall remain nameless, and our contact was going to be out of the office, so they assigned a different client contact. And the first thing the different client contact said was, "Oh, I'd love to get some time on your calendar. Why don't you book a 30-minute appointment with me so I can learn more about your business?" And I just never responded because you're asking for 30 minutes from me to do your homework. I get nothing out of that 30-minute call. I'm educating you about our business in addition to paying you a monthly fee. Your job is to learn about my business, then come back to me and say, "Hey, I found some opportunities for you. If you can set aside 30 minutes or 15 minutes, I'd love to walk you through, what I see the opportunities are." That's something of value for me. But offloading your work to me that's not generous.
No.
That's selfish. You don't want to put the time in, so you're just going to put it in as a call, and you're probably only going to be paying half attention anyway. It's not generous.
It comes from a place generally of having a prescribed outcome already figured out.
Yeah.
And that is very true in this particular instance, where it kind of doesn't matter what you say at the end of the day, because the answer is always going to be they're a hammer and you're a nail. Like it's, and
Yeah.
like it is very true, and it is symptomatic of an organization that is more not generous in their approach.
And that can manifest itself through things like, making it really difficult to reach someone at your company, making it really complex to navigate your website, or hard to opt out of your email newsletter, or um, difficult to place an order, or difficult to get a meeting. This isn't necessarily all marketing, but in some ways it is, because everything that's public facing is a form of marketing. You're either selling yourself or you're persuading people not to work with you. So it's tough, because when you're in that moment and you're like, I just want to get this thing out, or I just want to check this off my list. But again, like, that's about you and your list. It's not about what your prospect is thinking or feeling or when they want to receive a message. Sending out,
And how they want to receive that message.
yeah, sending out a blast campaign, on a Friday afternoon or the first day back from the holiday because you had it on your list and you want to get it off your list. Well, you're not thinking about how are they going to feel about getting that. They're going to feel like it's junk. They're going to feel like they're inundated in their inbox already. You're just adding to the time.
At this particular moment of the time of the year, which is December, you are maybe a little more conscious of the demands on people's time. However, those demands exist throughout the year. So this is not unique to this time of year. It is an all year problem. It is just that at this time of year, we allow ourselves to actually acknowledge it a little bit more than normal.
Yeah, it is. It's sort of, I don't know if it's more acceptable, but the message is almost like, well, this is holiday time. I will be out of the office. And somehow that resonates more than if you were to say, I am busy all this week, or I have deadlines all this week, or this is a Monday morning, and Monday mornings are always tough for me. People don't ever assume, and they rarely accept that their prospects are running busy shops too,
Mhm.
whatever it is that their industry is.
And the difference between a call or a meeting when you're asking for one, that is about, I'd like to get 30 minutes on your schedule, versus like, I have this opportunity for you. Um, can I grab 15 minutes? It's a wildly different ask. And
Yeah.
I think it's systematic of the mindset. And that's kind of the top level of this, is that, is your mindset one of being generous, or is it one of being more stingy or, selfish?
Yeah. Yeah. And it doesn't seem selfish in the moment, because you're just trying to get the work done, or you're trying to get the sale made, or you're trying to get the thing out. But it's important to really step back and look at, how is this likely to be received, perceived? Um, you know, Oftentimes, as a part of architecture for marketing, there will have to be buy in from the client, the ultimate client, if you're going to be marketing a project, the other vendors and trades that are involved, if you're going to be marketing a project. And even in those asks, it's important. Generosity will get you a lot farther than being the selfish green character.
Mhm.
Um, think about things like, maybe you pay for the photography for the project, and and offer that to the owner. Listen, if we have this photographed, you can use the photographs, and we'll be allowed to use them and promote this project. Or being willing to let the owner have a say in how the project is described or when it goes out. Um, Oftentimes that's handled in the upfront contract negotiations, but many, many times it's.
Well, especially on the building material side of things, this gets into how you've thought about all of your communications, and most specifically your website, because the giving of value is just at the conversation level. It touches every communication touch point that you have, and the website is often the first indicator of what it's like to work with your company. And if you're making it streamlined and easy for people to get all their answers, immediately and in one spot, you're already perceived as being more. You have an idea of what their life is like and what's going to be of value to them, and so subconsciously people will gravitate towards those things that are easy for them to get answers to, because they know, oh, they're already providing me easy answers. Chances are, the next step might be just as easy.
Yeah. I mean, investing the time in creating resources online where prospects can self serve up to a point is a really, really good investment. And it allows you to take some of the time and perhaps all the time that you would have been spent doing something like cold calling, put it into this tool. And now you're going to start getting prospects that are really interested, that are already a little bit, that are qualified. So being generous, it helps you. It leads to better opportunities, it leads to better sales, and it also leads to better word of mouth. If prospects see you as a company that really has their best interests at heart and will go the extra mile for them, you really can't buy that. You can buy all the ads you want, you can do all the PPC you want, you can do all the SEO you want. It won't fix that perception if that perception is that you are selfish.
And that has a lot of, we've talked about this before, that selfishness and the communication. And we've talked about like putting yourself in other people's, shoes as far as like how they want to be communicated with. The act of you choosing that there's only one way to communicate with you is also, and a sub being overly selfish in your efforts.
Yeah. So for example, maybe you don't want to have a form on your website because you prefer to have somebody call in so that they can talk to a salesperson. That's about what you want. The prospect who is looking for information at a time when you're not open, you're not picking up the phone, they're routed to an answering machine, whatever it is, that's not helpful for them. That's not generous. Giving them the opportunity to contact you through a form if they want to, or an email address, or scheduling a time to talk at their schedule when it's convenient for them. They may be really, really interested in working with you, but if you don't give them the choice of when to be contacted and how to be contacted, and you call them when they're in the middle of something, and you insist on, well, that's the time that we're going to have the sales call because this is the time that I'm available, that's probably not going to turn out in your favor, even if they were predisposed to working with you.
And we had an episode earlier that we kind of covered that the idea that this is a growing trend of the way that people like to be contacted. And so if you want to step back, we'll put the link to the previous episode in there. But like, it definitely is such a critical component to this equation, which is, how do you continue to put yourself in your prospects' shoes and, make sure that you are helping them and bringing value to them at every turn. Because without it, they may feel like you don't care, you're indifferent, or you're just a number for them to on their sales goal.
Exactly.
So what are the big takeaways from here?
Let's see, big takeaways. Think about your prospect. Think about matters to them, what their pain points are, how they like to be contacted, when they like to be contacted, when they tend to be doing research, and shape your marketing around them. They are the sun, not you.
That is a big one to underline. It's about them. It really is. And, you are there to help bring a project to life or to be the person that brings the project to life. And it's keeping that mindset throughout the process that you're there as a service to help service that is crucial.
Exactly. You want everyone in the town of Blankville to be singing your praises.
Indeed.
Yes. Well, we're singing your praises. Thank you for taking your infinite resource of time and your finite resource of time. Wow, I'm just going to change the laws of time and space. You're welcome. Thank you for taking your finite resource of time and spending some of it with us. We will see you next time.